Picture this. You are on a brand new airplane. It's smooth, shiny, and the airplane says it's one of the safest ever built. You relax thinking everything is fine. But what is hidden inside that plane was a deadly secret. A secret that would send two jets crashing to the ground, kill 346 people, and shake the entire aviation world. This is the shocking story of the Boeing 737 MAX. How greed, mistakes, and cover-ups turned a plane meant to save money into one of the biggest scandals in aviation history. In the early 2010s, Boeing was the king of airplanes. Its 737 model was the most popular jet in the world. But then came the competition. Airbus, the European rival, launched the A320neo, a new plane that used less fuel and saved airlines huge amounts of money. Airlines rushed to order the Airbus. Boeing was in trouble. If they didn't act fast, they could lose billions. So instead of building a completely new jet which would take years, Boeing chose a shortcut. They took their old 737 design from the 1960s and upgraded it. This new version would be called the 737 MAX. On paper, it looked smart. In reality, it was a risky gamble. The biggest change was the engines. To save fuel, Boeing put much larger engines on the MAX, but these engines didn't fit neatly under the old 737 body. To make them fit, engineers moved them forward and higher. This changed the way the plane flew. In certain situations, the nose of the plane could rise too much and risk a stall. A stall means the wings lose lift and the plane could fall from the sky. Instead of redesigning the jet properly, Boeing created a software fix. It was called MCAS. MCAS would push the nose down if the system thought a stall was happening. But here's the shocking part. MCAS relied on just one sensor on the outside of the plane. If that sensor failed, MCAS could force the plane down for no reason. Even worse, most pilots were not told about MCAS. It wasn't in their trainings, it wasn't in their manuals, it was a secret system quietly waiting to trigger in the cockpit. October 29, 2018, Lion Air Flight 610 takes off from Jakarta, Indonesia. On board are 189 people. The plane is brand new, only delivered a few months earlier. But just minutes after takeoff, things go wrong. The nose keeps pushing down. The pilots pull back, but the plane fights them. Over 20 times, the system forces the nose down. The pilots don't know MCAS even exists. They try everything, but it's not enough. 13 minutes after takeoff, the plane crashes into the sea. No one survives. Boeing tells the world it was an isolated accident. They hint that the pilots and the mechanics may be to blame. But in truth, the hidden danger is still on every 737 MAX flying around the world. After the Lion Air crash, Boeing faced questions, but instead of admitting the problem, they insisted the plane was safe. Inside the company, emails later showed employees calling the jet designed by clowns and admitting they wouldn't let their own families fly on it. But in public, Boeing reassured everyone. They didn't want airlines to cancel orders. They didn't want to lose money. They didn't even make simulator training mandatory because they had promised airlines the MAX would be easy to fly, just like the 737s. In the end, protecting profits came first. March 10, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 takes off from Addis Ababa. On board are 157 people. Just 6 minutes later, the nightmare repeats. The plane's nose drops suddenly. The pilots fight to pull it up. The system pushes it down again. Warning scream in the cockpit. The passengers feel the plane jack violently. In the final moment, the jet is diving at terrifying speed. At 8:44 a.m., it smashes into the ground. Everyone on board is killed. 2 crashes, the same plane, the same hidden system. Now the world can no longer ignore the truth. One by one, countries around the world banned the 737 MAX. China grounded it first, then Europe, finally the US. Boeing's home country was forced to act. Thousands of planes were parked, airlines lost billions, passengers were scared. Boeing's proud image, built over a century, was shattered in a matter of days. Investigators dug deep. They found that Boeing had hidden MCAS from pilots. They found that the FAA, the US Aviation regulator, had allowed Boeing to certify much of plane themselves. It was like letting a student grade their own test. Emails showed Boeing workers laughing about tricking regulators. They admitted they cut corners. Congress hearings exposed how money and speed mattered more than safety. Families of crash victims told their stories in heartbreaking testimony. Mothers, fathers, and children gone forever, all because of choices made in boardrooms thousands of miles away. Boeing paid billions in fines and lawsuits. Their CEO was forced to resign. Airlines demanded compensation. The stock price crashed, but the real price was human life. 346 people lost, entire families destroyed. This wasn't just a mistake. It was the result of a culture where profits came before safety. For decades, Boeing had been seen as a company that put engineering first. The 737 MAX disaster showed how far they had drifted from that reputation. After almost 2 years, Boeing fixed the MCAS system. Now, it used 2 sensors, not 1. Pilots were finally trained on how it worked. In late 2020, the 737 MAX returned to the skies. Some passengers were nervous, some refused to fly it. Slowly, airlines brought it back. Today, it is once again flying around the world, but the shadow of the crashes still lingers. The lesson of the 737 MAX is simple. Technology is only as safe as the people who design and manage it. Boeing had the ability to make the plane safe, but they chose speed and money instead. Regulators failed too, trusting the company too much. Together, these mistakes created the deadliest corporate disaster in modern aviation. Aviation is built on trust. When you step onto a plane, you trust that it has been designed, tested, and flown with safety above everything else. But the Boeing 737 MAX disaster broke that trust. For 346 people, the promise of safety was not kept. Their loss is a warning to the world that no profit, no deadline, and no company is more important than a single human life. This is the story of the Boeing 737 MAX disaster, where corporate greed and fatal mistakes took lives and where the lessons must never be forgotten. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. The next story is closer than you think.